I'm Dr. Layla Doolittle, and I'm going to show you how to do the movements for cerebellum that will help to activate both sides of the cerebellum. So it's actually going to help sync the frontal and the cerebellum together on opposite sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to start by moving our arm in and out in a wide figure 8 or infinity pattern. And then with the opposite leg, we're going to move in the opposite direction. And it needs to be at the same speed. And our goal is to really help with turning that hand over and in, and then the elbow goes in and out, and even the shoulder is doing its own figure 8 as well. And then same thing on the lower extremity. That hip is going in a full figure 8 motion, our knee is turning in and out, and then even our ankle is getting an inversion and an eversion, or you can tilt in and out for that. And it needs to go in the opposite direction. So imagine it coming towards midline and then going out. And ideally, we'd like you to do this for a full 30 seconds on each side before switching back and forth. And I typically tell my patients to activate the cerebellum. We want to go ahead and get that up to about 3 minutes at least in a day. Sometimes up to 5 minutes if we really want that cerebellum activated. So that's about 30 seconds there. So then we'll go ahead and do the same thing on the opposite arm, opposite leg. And so really be cognizant of each joint, how it's moving. We want to make sure that we're getting that full movement in, internal rotation, each joint, external rotation. We want to make sure that we're getting that inversion, knee version of the ankle. All of these are so important for us to activate the cerebellum in the right way. The cerebellum deals with coordination and balance, and also proprioception. So we know that proprioception is how our receptors are able to tell our brain where we are in space. And whenever we are using good, healthy cerebellar activity, then we're able to really help that cerebellum have better cognitive function throughout the day. Because all day long, it's checking in with the rest of the brain on where we are in space and how we're activating our muscles and the tone of our muscles. So this can also help with the muscle spasms, muscle contractures, muscles, because we're helping to build tone in a very healthy way and keep that brain clicked in. So let's just switch back and forth, and you can do this with me. We'll go ahead and do a smaller set this time. We want to work to where if your muscles are getting tight or sore, because it is a workout in itself, well, that's okay. Then we can go down just a little bit on the timing. But we also want to make sure that you are doing enough to where you're getting that good, healthy balance in, because the cerebellum works with the vestibular system for balance and control and coordination. One of the other great things that the cerebellum does is it does help a little bit with coordination of the immune system. So that's another great side effect for doing this little cerebellar exercise. Let's go and switch again. Just give your muscles a nice little break in between. One of the other things that you can do is if you're in a pool or a body of water like a lake, you can practice this, and then you don't have gravity pulling. It still helps with that coordination. That's a nice exercise for joints and for elderly if it's too much to do this exercise. Another modification that you can do though is by doing it partially seated. So I'll show you what that looks like in just a moment. That's where you're just kind of leaned up against a chair and still doing the movements. All right, those of you doing this with me, let's go ahead and switch back. One more set, 30 seconds. That way you're able to have your measurement of time, and you're also able to see how I'm moving, and you can modify your movements as you need to, but also kind of check in and see what motions you might not be feeling in your own movement pattern. And it took me a while to get this too, so if it's difficult, don't worry, don't be hard on yourself. It's a lot of concentration and focus, and also just you need to build those neural pathways to support this. Excellent, let's go and switch. Last time. Cross and finished. Got some music going on in the background that I'm like getting the beat on, the dance to. Feel free to do that too if you'd like. Make it fun. This should be, anytime that we're exercising the brain or activating the brain in a certain specific way, we want it to be enjoyable. That's when the brain works best. Almost finished. If you're getting sore on one leg more than the other, then that could also mean that you might have a subluxation or something out of place in your spine. Your cerebellum controls all muscles throughout the entire paraspinals and the entire body. So when things go out of place, our bones go out of place, well then that can control how the muscles get more spasmed, more tight, or contractures. So make sure you check in with your chiropractor to keep everything aligned as well. I hope you enjoyed.